and keep quiet for our special ceremony. And I hope you'll join me in welcoming, here to begin our honorary proceedings, is a writer and wrestling fan. Let's welcome Zach Harold.
Never had intro music before. I'm honored that Gary asked me to speak tonight for this Hall of Fame induction. About 10 years ago, I was hired by a national sports publication to write a story about independent wrestling here in West Virginia. And I'd been to a couple ASW shows, so I knew just where to start. But I started coming to more shows, hanging out with the crew, and trying to figure out what I would shape my story around. And then the more I talked to Gary, the more I realized all the work that goes into this show. There's one show you see here, and then there's another show you see behind the scenes. And that's what I wanted to capture. So Gary and I started talking more. We started having a lot of late night conversations while he cleaned the movie theater in Logan. He would call me and we would talk. And I learned about the history of this organization. I learned about Gary and how he got started promoting. And then one night we were leaving out of here and going to, what's the restaurant everybody goes to? Quaker Steak. Thanks guys in the back. Quaker Steak in Southridge. And Gary said, well, now's as good a time as any to tell you the truth. And I thought, uh-oh. But Gary told me a story, and you can read all about it in that piece I wrote, about how he made some mistakes when he was a young gospel music promoter and how that caused some problems in his life. It was nothing too scandalous. There are people that have committed way worse crimes and been elected to very high positions in our government. But Gary made a few mistakes, and Gary paid for those mistakes. But it was in that low point in his life that Gary found wrestling again. He started booking these wrestling shows, and through wrestling, Gary found a sense of community, he found friendship, and he found purpose. And I thought it was so interesting that we see these amazing shows that they put on together, and people like Gary see very little of them. He works for months and months to try to organize all this stuff, and then doesn't really get to enjoy very much of it because he's counting money in the back and making sure and ordering pizzas because we're eating all the pizzas, and he's just running around everywhere. And I sat down and I wrote this story, and I thought it was great about how, somebody goes through some struggles and then they find themselves through wrestling, and now Gary is the most widely respected wrestling promoter in West Virginia. And I turn in the story, and the editor writes me back and says, yeah, this is good, but can you make him a little grittier? Can you make him a little, show the dark underbelly of this thing? And I wrote him back and said, there is no dark underbelly to this thing. He was like, this Quaker Steak, is this like a dingy roadside bar? I'm like, no, man, it's a chain restaurant with neon signs on the walls. And there is no dark underbelly because Gary treats people fairly. He does what he says he's going to do, and he puts on a good show for the people. So they said, well, we don't want the story anymore. So we shopped it around, finally got it published by a place called 100 Days in Appalachia. And in all the stories I've written in my career, I think it's one of the most human because it tells the stories that we all go through, struggles and redemption and finding community. And like I said, Gary is now, this is not very journalistically, this is not speaking well of my journalistic integrity, but in my opinion, Gary now runs the best independent wrestling promotion. Yeah. And he is the best independent wrestling promoter in West Virginia, and you could make the argument one of the best on the East Coast and in the country. And if you don't want to take my word for it, for one story, they have a video tribute with some wrestling icons that I'm sure you are going to enjoy.
Hey Gary, it's me, always ready Matt Cardona, WWE superstar Matt Cardona, and I just want to say congratulations on being inducted into the ASW Hall of Fame. It was an honor to work for you, Gary. It was an honor to be your champion, and hopefully I'll see you soon. Hopefully you'll give me another custom pillowcase. Congrats, bro.
What's up, Gary? It's the most professional wrestler, Brian Myers, your favorite member of the Major Wrestling Figure Podcast and future ASW West Virginia Hall of Famer. But I'm here today to congratulate you on your Hall of Fame induction. Very proud of you, Gary, and everything you've built. You're a fashionable man, and you deserve the world. Congratulations, Gary.
Hey, Gary, this is Steve. Just wanted to congratulate you on your 20th anniversary as well as your induction into the All-Star Wrestling Hall of Fame. Nobody is any more deserving than you are. You and I have been friends for over 20 years. We first met at the show in Charlotte, and we were friends. I started coming to your show shortly after that. It's my honor to be one of your top sponsors. I'll always have your back. Always love working with you, and enjoy the show tonight. I'm sorry that I can't be there, and we're going to have one more great Bash and Beckley at number 6. Talk to you soon, buddy.
All right, wrestling fans, here to continue with our honorees induction, let's welcome ASW Commissioner Josh Brown. And along with Josh, I got to introduce, accompanying Josh is our friend Dustin Dent as well.
Didn't expect you to be that close to me, Dustin. We're going to move this up just a little bit because it's feedbacking and I don't like that. So, all right, folks. We all having a good time so far? Yeah! All right, good. So indulge me for a moment, folks. What I say?
I can't walk up on the thing.
All right, 20 years.
20 years. There you go. Now go up in the ring. Go stand in the ring.
I had it with that thing already. Wouldn't be an ASW show without it, would it, folks? All right. 20 years of all-star wrestling. 20 years, 2 decades, over 200 shows, with the majority of those shows being right here in this very building in this very same town. Our home, Madison, West Virginia. Some of these shows with the biggest stars of yesterday, today, and more importantly, the stars of tomorrow. Stars that have graced this very promotion are household names, the biggest stars our industry has ever seen. Entertain me a moment as we go through some of these names. Guests in this company like our guest tonight, the wild man, Mark Marrow. Mark, thank you so much for being here with us tonight. We appreciate you. People like Jerry the King Lawler, Arn Anderson, Dustin Rhodes, Lex Luger, Jake the Snake Roberts, Ricky Steamboat, FTR, Matt Cardona, the Rock and Roll Express, former ASW Tag Team Champions, Matt and Jeff Hardy. All 3 members of the Midnight Express, and rest in peace to our dear friend, Dennis Condry. Jim Cornette, Jimmy Hart, the Nature Boy, Ric Flair, and so many more. There was a time when our dear friend Nathan Bush and myself sat down years ago, and we counted the number of people that we had been on the show with. We stopped after about 150. I can say without a shadow of doubt that there has been at least 200 stars that have graced the ASW ring. March 19th, 2006, in Williamson, West Virginia, at the Williamson Fieldhouse, All-Star Wrestling as we know it was born. The main event for that show was Billy Gunn versus Mordecai. Buff Bagwell faced Chance Prophet, and David Flair faced the Jugulator with Krause. Other guests were Tracy Smothers and Heidenreich. So even for the first show, there was plenty of star power there. Wrestlers on that show would become staples to ASW even to this day. Chance Prophet. Don't move, or don't cheer him. Needless to say, that was only the beginning. Over the next 20 years, ASW would grow and expand. The Danville Community Center right down the road would house ASW for a time. Jimmy Hart would participate in a singing contest against Dirk Extreme. Paul Bearer would accompany Chance Prophet in a casket match and so much more. The community's love, your community, grew for ASW. And with that came the need for a new home. When people were standing against the wall and you're turning people away for fear of being shut down by the fire marshal, you have to figure out something bigger, something better, and that brings us here, to the Madison Civic Center. This has been the home of ASW for the last 15 years. And this building has seen so much wrestling history in its past and is seeing so much wrestling history today, as you are seeing the future of this business every single time we have an event here. I talk about all this history because as much as the company has been a team effort, it was the brainchild of one man, Gary Damron. The man, the myth, the legend, the wallet. Gary has been a wrestling fan since he can remember. A Hulkamaniac, a man that fantasized about being a member of the Heenan family, singing along to Eat Your Heart Out, Rick Springfield by Jimmy Hart, and even performing Keep On Dancing right there in that ring. If you've been here for long enough, you know what I'm talking about, baby. He's been a promoter for over 30 years, starting in gospel music before taking us on a wild ride of 20 years of all-star wrestling, then back to doing gospel music, and now both. Gary puts his heart and soul into every single thing that he does. 15 years ago, I actually met Gary at an ASW event in Logan. He personally invited me here to an event, and I have never left. You see, that's the secret to Gary's success as a promoter. He doesn't treat anyone like a fan. He treats every single one of you like a friend. And some of us like family. Gary genuinely cares about every single one of you that comes to these events, and I can assure you that you are on his mind. And when we're hanging posters for events or hanging banners, you all come up in the conversation. When I was going through some of the toughest times in my own life, this company was here and Gary was here. That's the kind of person Gary is. Gary doesn't need this praise or recognition. He would be the first to say that he never wanted to be in the ASW Hall of Fame. But when you look back at the last 20 years, there is no one that deserves it more. Without him, there's no ASW. This company and this man go hand in hand. With all that being said, ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome to his rightful place to the ASW Hall of Fame, the owner of All-Star Wrestling, the glamorous Gary Damron. You all haven't stopped cheering yet. Give it up for Gary. Ooh, I thought I was going to be all right. They got back there and everybody started coming up to me. Oh, I didn't bring no Kleenex either. My nose stuck around. What can you... Thank you.
I think I'm prepared.
All right, I'm okay now. What can you say about 20 years? 20 years of friendships. 20 years of memory. This is... give me just a second. Ooh, this is not the way I planned it out. I planned it out all day. I was like, it's going to be good. I'm not going to write a script. I'm just going to go out and just speak from the heart. That's what I'm going to do. Ooh, thank y'all for being patient with me. Oh, I'm going to be all right. All right. You know, the guys were saying that I had put 20 years of my life into this, and they're exactly right. I have to say, I have dedicated my life to being a promoter, and I try to do the best that I can. And one thing that I feel is different about ASW than other wrestling shows, and the guys kind of touched on it a while ago, we formed a friendship. Friendships have been made here. And friendships that some of you will hold probably the rest of your lives. You've made those friends here at the show. Ain't that awesome? You know, I thank God for allowing me to be a part of something that I love so much. When I was a kid, I loved pro wrestling. I absolutely loved it. Many of you can know what I'm talking about. In the 80s, if you wasn't a wrestling fan, something was wrong with you. I mean, the 80s was where it was at. And I can remember when I would get in trouble for something or making a bad grade at school, wrestling was the one thing that was took from me. So I had to make sure that I didn't get wrestling took from me. But if you would have told that little 8-year-old kid back in the 80s, just wait. One day you're going to be a part of something very special. And you're going to be a part of something, you're going to get to work with a lot of these guys. I hope that you are taking pictures and see snot come out of my nose. But you're going to get to be friends with some of these guys that you're watching on TV today. Some of these guys that you're watching on TV today, one day is going to be your friend. I would have probably died of a heart attack of excitement if somebody would have told me that. But I believe God was working with me at the time because He knew, and you can say what you want. This is a ministry just as much as it is a pro wrestling show, because we all have to have something that brings us joy and brings us happiness. We live in a horrible world, guys. This world is in horrible shape, and I don't know if we're ever going to get any better. So we have to have something to look forward to, and we have to have something that brings us happiness and joy. And I believe God picked me to do this kind of work, to bring happiness to so many of you. You know, we've lost a lot of friends along the way, but we've gained a lot. There's a lot of folks that I wish could be in here tonight. Nathan Bush is one of them, of course. My friend Donna Wagner, I wish she could have been here. There's so many Woody Numbers. I wish Woody could have been here. He was the reason ASW's Hall of Fame started. But so many of you, and just like Josh said, I've never been a promoter that's looked at any of you as a fan that comes to my show. I look at you as my friend. So I appreciate you. I do. I appreciate all of you. We've had shows when, after the show was over, I didn't have enough money to stop at McDonald's and bought me a double cheeseburger. We started out with some of those shows that they were talking about in Danville, and some of y'all were at those. And man, they were pretty scarce. I can remember one time we had Jimmy Hart and Ron Simmons on the same show in Danville. I don't think there was 65, 70 people there. It was hard getting started, but we kept going. We kept going. We pick ourselves up, dust ourselves off, and keep going. And that's what you got to do in life. You got to pick yourself back up and keep going, no matter what happens. Then we started having shows when I was able to go to Quaker Steak and get me some wings, and sometimes I was able to afford a steak on top of it. So I appreciate all the support support you guys have been to us over the years. 20 years, that's a long time to do anything. That's a long time. I never thought we'd make it to 20. And to be honest with you, when I started, people didn't give me a chance. People didn't think I'd make it. I had a lot of enemies, to be honest with you. I still got some enemies, to be truthful. If I had a dime for every person that ever ran a show and made the comment that they were going to get rid of me or they were going to run me off, I'd be pretty wealthy. But I'm still standing 20 years later. I want to thank so many people, and I don't want to forget nobody, so I'm trying not to name names, but you know who you are. So many of you that have helped me over the years, so many of you that have given something, your services, whether you've done anything at all to help ASW, you know you're on the list, and I would love to thank you. I got to thank Josh Brown, Dustin, and Matt Cook over here, and Matt Wolf. He's not here tonight for an injury he had last night, but those guys listen to me when I need somebody to vent to. And listen, I'm like a young girl when I get aggravated or mad. I need somebody to just scream out to, and these guys are the ones that has to listen to it. I feel sorry for them sometimes. Sometimes I feel like people are a better friend to me than I've been to them, and I hate that. I try my best to, but I do appreciate these guys for listening to me and giving me advice and helping me out. And I definitely could not do this without everybody that's involved. I want to thank the city of Madison, DJ and Gary. I tell you, I've got a relationship with those guys. They're here. They're always willing to let me set up the day before, and they're always good about helping in anything ASW needs, and I appreciate that. Appreciate the city of Madison for giving us this home. What a wonderful building this is to have a wrestling show. Am I right? But I'm thankful, and I don't want to hold you any longer. I don't want to keep you up. We've got a lot of wrestling stuff coming up. It's going to be a good night. It's going to be a fun night. 20 years of ASW, guys. We're here to celebrate. We're here to have a party. It's going to be good. I want to close with this tonight. Love on your loved ones, no matter how far distant they are. Time is not our friend, and time is swiftly passing away. And one day you look around and those loved ones that we've had are no longer here. I say this a lot. Tanya Tucker sings a song, and in that song it says a line that I think is the truest thing that's ever been said. She says, "We all think we got the time until we don't." And that's true. But I want to close with this tonight. And I think this is the most fitting thing that I can say to you. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for being a friend.